dangerous firearms.
Gun violence, gun laws.
President Obama skeet shooting at Camp David last August, and it comes just days before he launches a trip for stricter gun control.
Anybody that wants to disarm me can drop dead.
We do not have sufficient common sense gun safety laws.
There's a long tradition, though, of presidents photographed with shotguns. President Jimmy Carter staring down the barrel of a shotgun at a shooting event. There was President George H.W. Bush quail hunting in Texas during a vacation. But tonight, President Obama's photo is already causing controversy. And here's ABC's Rena Ninan now.
Putting to rest skeptics' questions about whether the president has fired a gun. This White House photo released today shows him firing at clay pigeons at a gun range in Camp David last August. The photo was made public as Mr. Obama prepares to campaign for new gun control measures. A trip to Minneapolis Monday, a state that's worked to improve background checks. The last time we saw the president with anything close to a gun, Camp David 2011, a birthday party for his daughter, Sasha.
Right after the president gave his speech, you posted, or your campaign posted on your website, a menacing picture of President Obama. And the headline said, "Obama wants your guns." How is that anything but fear-mongering?
It is actually quite accurate. This is the most anti-gun president we've ever seen. Eric Holder, the first Attorney General under Barack Obama, said he believed it was his job as Attorney General to, quote, brainwash Americans against guns.
But that's not the president.
But it's at the president's direction. At every instance, the president uses every terrorist attack, virtually every criminal incident.
So you don't take him at his word that he just wants to protect your children, his children,
Absolutely
everybody
not.
else?
And in fact, I'll tell you who I do take at her word.
Why not?
Is Senator Dianne Feinstein, who said, if I could go to Mr. America, Mrs. America, and say, hand over your guns, I want all of your guns, I would do it. I believe Dianne when she said that, and you know what? Barack Obama is in exactly the same boat. And by the way, if you want to know what his position is, you should take a look at the Supreme Court's case in Heller versus District of Columbia. Now, I represented 31 states in the Heller case, which upheld the individual right to keep and bear arms. Do you know what Barack Obama's position is? That there is no individual right to keep and bear arms whatsoever under the Constitution.
Anybody that wants to make me unarmed and helpless, people that want to literally create the proven places where more innocents are killed, called gun-free zones, we're going to beat you. We're going to vote you out of office, or suck on my machine gun. You can take it whichever way you want.
Much as I'd love to suck on your machine gun, the whole point of your defense is that a lot of people do drop dead, precisely because you are armed to the teeth, and you'd like everybody else to be.
Not true at all. Pierce,
people,
write this down. See, you're so British.
You write this down. 80 people a day die in America from gunshots.
And 75 of them to 78 of them, statistics by the Uniform Crime Report by the FBI and the UN study on violent crime, 78 of those 80 are let out of their cages by corrupt judges and prosecutors who know that recidivism is out of control, know that they'll commit the crimes again, and they let them walk through plea bargaining, early release, and program.
They still
Kiss my ass.
Yeah.
Where you have the most armed citizens in America, you have the lowest violent crime rate. Where you have the worst gun control, you have the highest crime rate. Pierce, choose one. Do you want a lot of crime? We have it. Gun-free zones. Do you want less crime? We have that. More people with concealed weapons permit. Why do you guys resist that statistic?
Well, don't say you guys.
It's you guys.
No.
Well, unless you're playing the devil's advocate.
I can play any advocate I like.
You're
it's
doing
my
a fine
show.
job.
Right.
You're playing the idiot's advocate here.
That's not the idiot's
More
advocate.
guns equals less crime. Period.
That's right. Actual footage. President Obama skeet shooting at the White House. Look at this. Pull.
The president first mentioned his skeet shooting in an interview he gave to the New Republic magazine about gun restrictions.
Unfortunately, we've had some tragedies that politicians use to their advantage to try to push their agenda and get our guns out of the hands of people, and that just makes people want them even more. I mean, that's kind of the mentality of us in America. It's like, you're telling me I can't have that? Well, I want one more now.
When we talked about doing effective background checks, it was resisted because the notion was we were going to take your guns away.
Why then do you and Hillary want to control and restrict and limit gun manufacturers, gun owners, and the responsible use of guns and ammunition to the rest of us, the good guys, instead of holding the bad guys accountable for their actions. And Mr. President, if I may, I'd like to use Chicago, your hometown, a city that has some of the strictest gun laws in the nation, a city that for decades and still is under Democratic control, a city that has an outrageous and even embarrassing murder rate as my first example. Why can't we round up these thugs, these drug dealers and gang members, and hold them accountable for their actions, or allow the good people in Chicago access to firearms to protect themselves?
We're going to ensure that federal mental health records are submitted to the background check system and remove barriers that prevent states from reporting relevant information. If we can continue to destigmatize mental health issues, get folks proper care, and fill gaps in the background check system, then we can spare more families the pain of losing a loved one to suicide. And for those in Congress who so often rush to blame mental illness for mass shootings as a way of avoiding action on guns, here's your chance to support these efforts. Put your money where your mouth is. The notion is that by studying it the same way we do with traffic accidents, somehow that's going to lead to everybody's guns being confiscated.
Let's talk about gun sales. You've had a couple of really good years, right?
Oh yeah, I mean everybody has. I mean every time a politician opens their mouth and says something, possibly in the negative, it definitely affects gun sales.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about how your sales have been under the Obama administration? Is he really the best gun salesman in America?
We think he is, yeah.
It's not just Obama, it's anyone like him who hates guns and who hates our Second Amendment right to own a gun. They're anti-Second Amendment.
A gun-free zone to a killer or somebody that wants to be a killer, that's like going in for the ice cream. That's like, here I am, take me. We have to get smart on gun-free zones. When they see it says this is a gun-free zone, that means that nobody has a gun except them. Nobody's going to be shooting bullets in the other direction. And they see that as such a beautiful target. They live for gun-free zones. And, I mean, frankly, you have teachers that are Marines for 20 years and they retire, they become a teacher, and they're Army, Navy, Air Force, they're Coast Guard, they're people that have won shooting contests, and they're for whatever. This is what they do. They know guns, they understand guns. And I frankly have been reading a lot about it, and I think when you allow a person who's been in the Marines for 20 years, who's done nothing but handle guns and handle them safely and well, because you can't just give a teacher a gun. One of the fake news networks, CNN last night, was saying, I want teachers to have guns. I don't want teachers to have guns. I want certain highly adept people that understand weaponry, guns, if they really have that aptitude. Because not everybody has an aptitude for a gun. But if they have the aptitude, I think a concealed permit for having teachers and letting people know that there are people in the building with guns, you won't have, in my opinion, you won't have these shootings, because these people are cowards. They're not going to walk into a school if 20% of the teachers have guns. It may be 10% or maybe 40%. And what I'd recommend doing is the people that do carry, we give them a bonus. We give them a little bit of a bonus. Frankly, they'd feel more comfortable having the gun anyway, but you give them a little bit of a bonus. So practically for free, you have now made the school into a hardened target. For instance, if the coaches, who I guarantee had plenty of experience with weapons, if they had guns, you need a hard, because no matter what you do to keep them gun-free, they'll be able to get in there and they'll crawl through the back of a window or something. And you're going to have everybody again without any protection.
You've talked about wanting to put extreme vetting on people trying to come into the United States, but I wonder if you would consider extreme vetting for people trying to buy a gun.
Trying to what?
Buy a gun.
Well, you're bringing up a situation that probably shouldn't be discussed too much right now. We could let a little time go by, but it's okay if you feel that that's an appropriate question, even though we're the heart of South Korea. I will certainly answer your question. If you did what you're suggesting, there would have been no difference 3 days ago, and you might not have had that very brave person who happened to have a gun or a rifle in his truck go out and shoot him and hit him and neutralize him. And I can only say this, if he didn't have a gun, instead of having 26 dead, he would have had hundreds more dead. So that's the way I feel about it.
And are you
Not going to help.
And are you considering any kind of gun control policy going
When you
forward?
look at the city with the strongest gun laws in our nation is Chicago. And Chicago is a disaster. It's a total disaster. Just remember, if this man didn't have a gun or a rifle, you'd be talking about a much worse situation in the great state of Texas.
What I want is the Second Amendment. We the people, free individuals to have the right to keep and bear arms for self-defense. Find fault with that.